Today marks the 50th anniversary of one of the most destructive earthquakes in U.S. history. It was also one of the most devastating tsunamis ever to hit the West Coast. The Good Friday Alaska Quake of 1964 generated a huge wave that pounded the southern Oregon and northern California coast, killing more than a dozen people in our area. Newswatch 12's Ron Brown takes a look at the impact that event had on the coastal town of Crescent City.
The tides and surf washing ashore at Crescent City are a far cry from the giant waves that almost swept that Northern California town out to sea 50 years ago. A tsunami from the Alaska Quake destroyed much of the town, causing more than $7 million damage at the time and killed 13 people on March 27, 1964.
It was, of course, pitch black, and there was a little old Greek lady who lived down the street from me, and she was just frightened to death, and her screams were just... I never heard anything like it, and she kept it up for what seemed like hours.
By the time I got to town, the 5th Street, Dad come out of the bakery, the second wave come in, and it was up to his knees. And then they give it all clear, and they brought all the heavy equipment in to start moving some of the driftwood. And then the bay emptied out completely, and then here it come back. And when it come back, it just kept it coming.
Nick Gargaitis and his family ran an old motel that was no match for the waves either.
They had water that was 5-foot level. And all these units that we had there, they'd been there a long time, you know. They were not anchored to the ground. It picked them up and moved them by 1, 2, 3, 4 units. I can remember that it picked them up and out they went.
Yeah. A group of birthday partiers at a local tavern were washed out to sea and were among the 13 people who died here. It came from a massive earthquake that almost destroyed Anchorage and several other coastal Alaskan towns.
Devastated Alaska has begun the task of rebuilding after the greatest earthquake ever recorded. Anchorage, with a metropolitan population of 100,000 hardy souls, was in the center of the severe shock that ripped down 4th Avenue, the main shopping street.
Del Norte Civil Defense Director Bill Parker says based on the size of the quake and the 30-foot high tide already there, he ordered evacuations.
But finally, our time was running out, so we just went ahead and started evacuating. But I think we only had about maybe 25, 30 minutes left to do it.
The damage was total where the water swept ashore. Business owners were forced to tear most everything down and start over. This large tetrapod was knocked off its base. Fishing boats were scattered around. And after the mess was cleaned up, it took years to rebuild. Most of the destroyed Old Town was turned into a large waterfront park and mall, while some businesses still reflect the legacy of the big wave of '64.
Everybody really pulled together, and that's what made the town. And they always have. And it's really nice feeling that the community is behind you all the time, and they always are.
A recent poll by the Crescent City Triplicate newspaper says 60% of its readers believe the community has mostly recovered from the 1964 tsunami. In Medford, Ron Brown, Newswatch 12.
In addition to the 13 people killed in Crescent City, 4 campers on a beach near Newport were also killed in the tsunami from the very same Alaskan quake.